Hello YouTube. I just heard the craziest story and I just had to share it. It's something I've never heard, but I feel like I need to share it because you do have bullies at work, and I wanted to share this story so people could be aware. And I also wanted to share a story I saw the other day. I forgot to mention it in my previous video about people who don't have friends you need to stay far away from. So boom, I'm gonna start. First of all, the channel is called Tales from the Hood, and it's really good. So remember I had talked about stranger danger. This guy was gonna meet a girl on Tinder, but instead somebody tried to kidnap him, and it does really happen. So you gotta be careful with them dating apps. Be careful with people in general. He was smart to follow his gut or whatever, but in this story I just had to tell it. Another story in the same video, because it was 3 stories. So the second one, it was just a girl, pretty much she goes on a date and the guy don't look like his profile. So that alone made her not interested in him, and so she leaves him or whatever. And she actually goes to the bathroom, calls her friend, and she fakes an emergency and leaves. So then he's texting her like, oh, we felt a connection. Like, sir, how you felt a connection and the date didn't even finish? She ain't kiss you, she ain't nothing, she just left. So red flag. He kept calling, texting her, which is very common. And I think I spoke about that. Like, the beauty of blocking someone, it's like you don't owe anybody an explanation. If you don't feel comfortable about something, please block them. So she blocks them, and the person is sitting outside her house and stalking. So she got her brother that's a blood to handle it. But this story is crazy. I just have to share it. So it's this guy, he's married, he's at work, he starts a new job. I guess they're in a new city or whatever. And so his coworker asked him to hang out with, like, a double date. So he said he did feel uneasy, and I have to say this. If you feel uneasy about somebody, never feel pressure to hang out with somebody. Okay? If you feel like the person is weird or you're just not interested in their company, don't hang out with them. Don't feel like you're forced to hang out with people, okay? And this is why, and this is a reason why you have to listen to your gut. So they go on a double date, and this pissed me off. I'm not even in the story, but basically they went on a double date, and these motherfuckers, they dimed and dashed. Not only did they dime and dash them, they this is how they did it. So they ordered a bunch of stuff that was $200 worth with drinks and food and everything between them two. And so they was like, the guy was like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. So she's like, oh, I gotta go too. And they had a nerve to wait in the parking lot for them. Like, most people would just leave and go wherever, but these people had a nerve to wait in the parking lot. Me personally, if I feel like I know I got dimed and dashed, I would alert the waitress and I would say, let's look for him. I would have, as soon as I seen them in the parking lot, I would have went back in real quick. Like, me, I'm very observant. So people have windows and stuff in a restaurant. I would have seen they was in the parking lot, and I would have got the waitress like, we just got Diamond Dash. I'm paying for me and my wife's portion, but the couple that was sitting here did not pay. Please call the police if you have to, or they're right here in the parking lot. So I'm not paying. Like, and I was just thinking about that. Like, I had people who used me, and I can admit that, but they at least had the decency to tell me they didn't have money prior to. I don't think I've ever been in a situation where the person is like, oh, you're paying? Hell, what the fuck I look like? Hell no. And I think my ex tried something like that, and he was like, oh, I left my wallet in the car. I said, go get it, because I'm not paying for you. You're going to pay for yourself, or you're going to be washing dishes. Like, we're not going through that. And people will try to play you. And this story is so bizarre, but it's very believable, because you have bums out here. Like, they got jobs and they might have their own crib and car and stuff, but they bums because they want you to pay for everything. And it's like, It comes from they think you a punk. That's what it really is. Cause there's no fucking like I wish a nigga would like this story is so crazy to me. Like you really have the gall to not only Diamond Dash, but you sitting there in the parking lot waiting for us. So then the wife Pam is like asking like, why did y'all do that? Like whatever. So and that's why you have to be careful with what type of man you choose, because as a man, he should have confronted him right then and there, like, yo, that's not funny. Like, you're gonna either go into this restaurant right now and pay your portion, or I'm gonna let them know to call the police right now. Like, him as a man should have stood up, because she was like, yo, why did y'all do that? She probably was afraid, and then she got a scary husband. I cannot fuck with no man that's scary. I hate to feel like, and I think I told y'all in my previous relationship, um, it's crazy because he ended up getting married 13 months after I broke up with him. But I cannot be with no scary nigga. I'm sorry. Like, you don't have to be no gangster or nothing, but could you imagine going out to eat with your husband's coworker and his wife, and they do some shit like that, and your husband just don't do nothing? That, yo, I would go off on him, because I'm like, why are you so soft? And that's why he did it, because you're soft. I would have been like, I don't know what type of people y'all think we are, but we're not paying your fucking bill. Like, I would have told my husband, like, no, you're not paying their bill. Like, that's not going on. Like, the fuck y'all think we are? Y'all gonna pay y'all portion, or I'm gonna alert them to call the police. Like, y'all really got life messed up. We're not paying for you. Like, we're not your parents. We're not none of that. Like, nah, because they did that on purpose. Like, this dude, and people will do that at work. Like, they'll scope you out and try to bully you. So that's what he did. It's like other employees there, but he did that to him because he knew he was going to be with it. And it's that simple. It's messed up, but he knew that he could get away with that with him. So then, to make matters worse, right? After the parking lot thing, and they realized whatever, the wife is like, oh, don't be so boring, don't be da da da. Then the coworker is like, oh, we wanted to test y'all to see if y'all was a real one. What? How does that make you? What? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. Like, I'm like, whatever. Then they stick around with them. They like, oh, let's go to the park. They actually follow these people to the park. So I don't really know what's going on in his head. He obviously was afraid of him, I think, but he couldn't be too afraid of him, because in the end he confronts him. But so the night continues, and they go to this park, and the girl is on a swing. They're very immature people, not just because they dined and dashed, but just by the story. Like, the wife is on a swing and the husband pushing her, she's screaming like a little girl, whatever. So then it starts to get dark, and the coworker they start to ask them questions, like weird questions, like, do they live alone, and other questions of, do they have weapons in the house, and some other shit they was asking them that was just weird. And then the coworker pulls out a knife. So that's when he finally is like, okay, I got a family emergency. And then they run out the situation. Finally, he has sense, like, because after he pulled out a knife, it's like, you pulling, like, why are you doing this? Like, the people paid for you, and then you lure them in a park, and then he pulls out a knife, like, oh, da da da. So he's like, okay, I got a family emergency, we got to get up out of here. And then they left. So after that, this is like a week later, they at home minding their business. They hear a knock at the door. It's them. So he was like, he don't know how he got his address. Google has most people addresses, or they have something called benverified.com. So it's actually very easy to get somebody's address. As long as you know their phone number and their first and last name, that's all you need, unfortunately. So he popped up at the house. The wife has a cake. And they like, oh, can we come in? They like, no. Like, what the hell? How you just pop up at somebody's house? So he was like, now it's not a good time. So thank God they, didn't let them in the house. God only knows what they would have did or whatever. So so then, later on, they get a brick thrown in their window, and then their mail is missing, and then they tires become flat. Like it's a lot of going on. The wife is getting prank calls, or just somebody breathing. They get continuous. They're pretty much getting stalked. They would be driving and there's cars behind them, but I guess they never saw who was driving or whatever. And so eventually he gets tired and he confronts him. He's like, yo, you need to chill, whatever you doing, whatever, whatever. And he decides to stand up for himself. Of course, this is the scary part. He denies it. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about, this, that, and the third. Now, there is a possibility that they wasn't doing this. What I think might have happened is they might hang out with weird people, and they probably told somebody the scenario and they took it upon themselves to stalk them. Because I can't imagine that somebody would be that stupid to do that to a coworker, and you work with this person. Why would you put your job in jeopardy? So what ends up happening is because he confronted him, he gets suspended and then fired for intimidation. That's crazy as hell. I've never heard of no shit like that. Like, if you confront somebody, that's considered intimidation. Like, so he played victim, like, oh, I'm so scared. Like, that's real pussy. Like, you really gonna go to HR because somebody came to you? And that is so pussy to me. Like, that's crazy. I didn't know people did that. And then so he played victim, but karma came to him because he actually ended up getting fired a month later for stolen inventory. Like, he was in the person business. So that kind of confirms that he probably did stalk him, because they found out that he was into somebody else's personal information, stealing from inventory or whatever, and they fired him a month after. So that was his karma. But and shortly after that, the person, him and his wife, they actually moved to another city to start all over again. And he was like, how the way the story ended was, he didn't really feel happy or relieved. He kind of felt like it's kind of, they let them win, and I can imagine what that feels like. It's like you feel defeated, like, because after he got fired, the harassment, it kind of stopped, but every now and again something would happen. So then they just decided to, like, move out of the city. And it's like, that's so crazy, like, to move out because of a stalker from your job, and it's like, they didn't even do anything. All they did was exist. All they did was agree to hang out. And I can't stress that enough in this video. Like, if you think somebody is weird, or we all have, let me not say every job, but in a lot of jobs, you have that one class clown. If you feel like that person is immature in any type of way, you can't hang out with them, because you don't know the way they act at work, or the way they seem at work. Definitely, that's how they might feel in real, that's how they might behave in real life, So he had an uneasy feeling. He didn't really know him, but he had an uneasy feeling. You have to trust your gut, right? And just because you're new in town, that doesn't mean you need friends. Some people, they get into this idea of, we need friends. No. If you don't want to hang out with people, or if you're not a socialite, you do not have to do that if that's not what you want to do, right? Now, my next story that I thought was crazy, and I'm surprised I didn't share it in a previous video. So this is for people, I think I mentioned of this before. I had a friend who, she was talking crap about me, and when I confronted her years later, she didn't care. Like, she really didn't care about me or how I felt. And it was hurtful, because it's like, what kind of, like, who does that, right? You sit there, you're not even really talking about me, you're lying on my reputation. You're lying, and it's like, you did the same thing, because I confided in her about what a family member did, and they pretty much did the same thing as her, lied on my name. And I don't understand that. Like, why would you lie on someone, you know? But she used to brag about, like, she does have a best friend or whatever, but she used to say, oh, I don't have much friends, I don't need friends, whatever. And it's true, as you get, mind you, she was in her 20s though. She didn't have no social life, like no associates, no nothing, never went outside. And that's not normal for a 20 something year old. You know, even if you have children or whatever, you need that social life to stay mentally level. Because I think what happened with her, she didn't have an outlet and it affected her. But I brought her up because in this story it talks about that. So these two girls met in nursing school, and she felt bad for her. Be careful who you feel bad for, right? Um she ended up regretting it in the end. So basically, they in nursing school. She felt sorry for her because she didn't really have friends, whatever. They become cool, and so right away she starts to notice the girl. You know, they had each other's social medias, so the girl would be like, "Oh, my husband, don't like you." So she's like, "Your husband don't even know me," but okay, like little red flags like that. She will over compliment her, and you got to be careful. I think I mentioned that in a previous video years ago. Like when somebody says stuff like, "Oh, you have a very loving family, I wish I had that." When they say things like, "Oh, I'm jealous," they really are. Wow, you have a perfect life. Watch out for phrases like that, because this girl was saying that to her, and in the end it's like she became a stalker. So so time goes on, whatever, and so some people, me personally, I don't do it, but some people, if they're wearing a bikini, they'll post it up on their social media. So she posts a picture, and she's like, "Oh, my husband said, you shouldn't post that, whatever." She was making up somebody that probably who didn't exist. Later on, she finds out that the guy, because the girl had a boyfriend and a husband, allegedly. So the boyfriend is in jail, and he's like, "I don't know you, I don't know nothing about you." And she actually was fired for having relations with somebody in a prison. And it's like, what? Because it's like, that's why she was in nursing school, because she lost her license and everything like that. Like, that's the part I couldn't understand, because with nursing, do you have to go to school all over again? Because she met this girl in nursing school. So that's the thing that's kind of like, she lost her license and stuff and had to do it all over again in another state. I don't know how that works. Because like with teaching, for example, if you get fired from teaching, you can never teach again. Like DOE is very strict. Like once you get fired as a teacher, you lose your license and everything. You cannot teach in no other state. They blacklist you. They have a system where they hold your fingerprints for a long time. Like your fingerprints is good for 25 years. So like I worked for a nonprofit, but we worked in the schools. I had to get fingerprinted in 2008. When I came 8 years later to be a para, I didn't have to do the fingerprints again because they looked me up in the system. Their system is perfect. They look up your first and last name, they see whatever, and it's like they can see everything. So once you're fired as a para or teacher, you can never teach in no state. It's not the police department where you could shoot somebody, you could murder somebody and then be a cop in the next state. No. When it comes to DOE, they, so I wonder with nursing, how does that work? Like if somebody gets fired for having relations with inmate, how does that work, But so she eventually, I think she moves out of state herself, the girl telling the story, whatever. So she gets into the a nursing unit. She gets a new job and stuff. Look, lo and behold, who's there? The girl, right? So she gets her phone number, and she's like, "How you get my number?" So she doesn't even bother to go back, because at this point you're stalking her. She didn't give you her number, but yet you're texting and calling her, and it's like, it's crazy because it's not like they slept together or dated, but you have women that are stalkers. I've gone through that, not extensively, but you know, there was a girl that I blocked, and so I have this new phone, and then she texts me again. So I blocked her again, you know. And you have people that befriend you for different reasons. Some people, they befriend you because y'all might have a mutual friend, and they want you to do their dirty work. Like I had told y'all in a previous video, this girl was obsessed with this dude. She found out he was married, and instead of moving on, she said she wanted to stalk the wife. She's like, oh, I want to look on her page because she deleted me all of a sudden. So she was trying to use me to look at her page. I'm like, let it go. Like, this dude don't want to be with you, or whatever the case. He really want to be with you. He's going to make it happen. Like, what did the wife do to you? Why are you being like this? Why are you doing this? And she was on the phone with me for an hour and a half, and shame on me for not hanging up on her. And I finally was like, yo, I'm getting off this phone. You're crazy. Like, she's like, oh, why you won't da-da-da. I said, get somebody else to do it. Get our mutual friend to do it. Oh, he knows who she is, da-da-da. It's not hard to make a fake profile. It's really not. Like, I'm like, you can make a fake profile and follow her. Why are you trying to involve other people in your mess? Like, that's the mental illness. Like, you know. But that story was creepy because the girl, she felt sorry for her because she didn't have friends, and look what happened. So be careful of people who brag about not having friends, or they don't want friends. Be careful of people like that. Be very careful, because it's a reason why, And then with the girl that was talking about me, and I was talking to the girl, one of her friends. She was like, that's the reputation she had in junior, because she knew her from junior high school. She was like, that's the reputation that she talks about people. And I'm like, but as a grown woman, you're not getting out of that. You don't change. You're still the same little girl. That's really sad. But yeah, trust that instinct. Don't feel sorry for people. That story with the double date dime dash, I wish somebody would. I really, what? I would be like, who you think you playing with? Because you're not playing with me. Like, I would squeal. I don't give a damn if they say, oh, you snitching, whatever. No. There's no fucking way that I'm paying for two people. Not even one person. You want me paying for two people? You must really think I'm like a punk ass. Because that's what it is. People do stuff to test you. Notice how the class clown, or whatever you want to call them at work, the one who making jokes or whatever, they don't do it with everybody. They do it with people who they think they can get over on. Now, the type of person I am, I look like a punk, but I stand up for myself. There's no fucking way that somebody is going to come to dinner, order everything on the menu, $200 between him and his wife, and I'm paying, or my date is paying. Y'all got life messed up. Like, no. And the wife was like, yo, why would you do that? Like, but she's the woman in the situation. He wasn't being a man, because a man would have been like, yo, y'all going to get back in this restaurant, and y'all going to pay y'all portion, or I'm going to alert them to call the police. What y'all want? Oh, da-da-da. I don't give a fuck what y'all think. I'm not paying y'all bill. I'm not doing that. You knew that you didn't have money before coming to this restaurant, so why would you play dumb? Play with your mother, don't play with me. I'm not your mother. I'm not your father. I'm not none of them. So you come into a restaurant, let me tell you something, what you going to learn tonight. You going to pay your bill. That's what you're going to do. And if you don't, I guess they have a right to call the police on you. Do you not understand that? This is a real world. That is a crime, what you're doing right now. You're walking away from your bill. They have a right to call the police on you, as they should. And if the police want to rough up on you and they had a bad night, That ain't none of my business. You put yourself in that situation. You got the right one tonight, because I'm not the one or the two. Like, what? Yo, I wish somebody, what? You dimed and dashed, and then you got the nerve to wait in the parking lot. That's the part that blows my mind. Like, y'all really waiting in the parking lot. Like, I would have alerted the waitress, like, yo, they right here, they right here. They right here. I would have motioned her to come out. Like, yo, y'all gotta pay y'all bill. Otherwise, I'm calling the police. So, and I would have been like, good night, that's between you and the waitress. Like, we're going home. Like, deuces. Like, and if you call me or text me, I'm reporting you to HR for harassment. Call me a snitch if you want to. Like, there's no way. The fact that it went that far, that he after that popped up at the house, harassing them, slashing they, it would have never got that far with me. Is no way. And we work together too, so you gonna really see another side of me. Please. Tell everybody at the job you broke, that you try to diamond dash me. Like, yo, you gonna really have hell at work. People gonna be looking at you crazy, not me. Like, I would have, there's no way I would have kept that to myself. The fact that he kept that to himself, and he see, that's why you have to have backup. It's important to have backup, because the fact that he kept all of that to himself, what was going on, and then he confronts him, of course, naturally, and he said that people at the job was looking at him like he was the villain. That's what happens when you keep stuff to yourself. The moment he did that diamond dash shit, whatever, that's when you should have told people at the job, like, yeah, this dude, da 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 da. Like, you should have been told HR. You should have been. You don't wait, because naturally they're gonna take his side. You never said nothing. You know, you didn't even call the police till after a fact. Like, nah. And I can't stress that enough. Like, don't be afraid to talk. Don't be afraid to. I try to be quiet at work too, but there's no way that somebody's gonna punk me and nobody's gonna know about it. Like, the whole office, the whole job is gonna know. I don't care. Everybody's gonna know what kind of person you are. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not the one. I'm not the one. You know. But yeah, comment, like, and subscribe if you've ever been bullied at work, or you felt like you was forced to hang out with somebody. That is so crazy to me. Like, to feel forced to hang out with somebody. Like, never. Even the one I told y'all in previous videos with the guy that was crazy. He lived in Left Rank and stuff like that. I never showed up. He would want to make dates with me. I wasn't interested, and I never, in like 6-7 years, we hung out maybe 2 times, 3 times. There's no way that you're gonna punk me into hanging out with you. It's not going down. If I have an unsettling feeling about you, it's not going down. It's not happening. Like, not in my young life. Definitely not now. Like, I'm so careful with who I spend my time with, because people ain't shit. And it's not even worth it, you know. But comment, like, and subscribe if you ever been through anything like that. How do y'all feel about the story with the Diamond Dash couple? And then they hung out with them after a fact in a park. Ladies, what would you do if this was your man's coworker and they Diamond Dash? For me, I would get on his case. And there's no way, you're not doing that to us. Like, the moment that we realized they Diamond Dash, I would have tried to look for them. I would have found them in the parking lot. They were still waiting. And the fact that they were still waiting in the parking lot shows the amount of, they knew who they was dealing with. They knew they can get away with that. Because that's what you call nerve. To Diamond Dash and you don't even leave. You stay in the parking lot. And then the wife had a nerve to say, oh, stop being boring. Like, diamond dashing is what children do. Even when I was a child, I never did no stuff like that. And so for him, he said he paid the bill because he didn't want the people to think he broke. You're not broke if you pay your side of the bill. That doesn't mean you're broke. They the ones that look broke. They the ones that dimed and dashed. There's no way. I would have found them in the parking lot. I would have said, to the waitress, hey, you see them? That's them right there in the parking lot. I would open the door to motion, like, to let the waitress know, like, hey, they right there, they right there. And I wouldn't care if they screamed and whatever, whatever. And then I would have told the whole job. I would have told the whole job that what they did. I don't care. People need to know what type of person you are so they don't hang out with you. You mess with the right one. Like me, I'm going to expose you. That's what I do. I expose people. Okay? You're not going to do that to me. And no one's going to know about it. Everybody's going to know about it. Everybody. And the police too. If you even think you could, like, what? Sometimes when people act crazy, you have to act crazier. And that's what I learned. Like I told y'all in a previous video, I had an old coworker that started stalking me. So I could kind of relate, except for it wasn't a double date situation. But I had an old coworker. We hadn't worked together in over 10 years. But he started stalking me. And I like barked on him. I would blast it on him. And I was so proud of myself because sometimes it does take time for you to stand up for yourself. And I totally get it. But I barked on him. I cursed him out so good. I was like, if you ever call my fucking phone again, I'm calling the fucking police. Like, for real. Like, and I'm gonna get you fucked up. I threatened him too. I was like, I'm gonna call the police and I'm gonna get you fucked up. Don't be calling my fucking phone. Like, sometimes you gotta do that. Sometimes you gotta, people act crazy and you have to meet them at their level of crazy. Sometimes you gotta get worse than them. You gotta threaten them. You gotta, yo, I know this person that, like with the girl that was getting harassed by her date, she didn't even have to say nothing. She got her brother that was blood. Sometimes you gotta do that. She got her brother to handle it and she ain't had no problems no more. Sometimes you gotta do that. Unfortunately, I'm not advocating violence, but sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to shut these people down because it stems from bullying. That's what it is. Like, when somebody is stalking you, they think that you're a punk. Remember, it's not flattery, it's not love. I don't care if it's a dating, friendship, whatever situation. When someone stalks you, it's a sign of disrespect. They don't have respect for you and they feel like you're a punk. Because best believe they're not going to do that to certain people. They're doing it to you because they know that you're not going to do anything. I'm telling you. They feel like you're not going to do anything. So it's like they just continue. And it's like, no. But comment, like, and subscribe if you've ever been stalked by a coworker. That situation is crazy because it wasn't even a dating situation. I'm wondering if the guy had a crush on a guy, because you got all kind of weirdos. Maybe they wanted to force them or whatever. But comment, like, and subscribe, y'all.